And with that, we can jump into our agenda. We don't need to do a formal approval or roll call without quorum, I don't think. But I do have a couple pieces of information for the chair's report. Anna presented to the Budget and Finance Committee at the late May, and updated the Assembly about that we will have actually 4 vacancies on the BAC starting on July 1st, because I believe Carla and Tasha are not continuing past when their terms expire at the end of June, if I have that correct. We also are down Jonathan King resigned because he had a schedule conflict, essentially. And then, of course, Randy Solt is now on the Assembly. So that means that if we're down 4 starting in July, we'll have even more trouble getting quorum in our meetings, because it goes by the total number of seats available to the commission, not the number of filled seats. So we still have to have 6 regardless. So we're hopeful that those seats will get filled and we can resume our normal business. I think Anna also updated the Assembly about the departmental reviews and the process. I know that that's been kind of pushed back a little bit from what we would ideally like to consider as far as assigning departments to individual members and doing that part of our process that we like to try to do for the budget cycle. Having OMB not fully staffed, I think, is probably the biggest challenge with getting those assignments done. The Assembly also asked, kind of for an open invite on weighing in on fiscal issues, kind of a standing thing, and so not necessarily like to give us a specific thing to work on, but like our general input being welcome. So fairly open-ended invitation to discuss items of importance there. So those are the items that I have then from Anna as far as the chair's report go. I would say I would love to have an Assembly report, but I don't think we have anyone from the Assembly on the call, so I don't know if anyone else has insights on from the Assembly or update to provide that can fill that role. So I don't think so. I think we may have to let that one pass. I am not up to speed enough on Assembly issues currently to provide any sort of an update myself. So we may have to pass over that one. But we do have, I believe, Carl Jacobs from the school district. And so, Carl, do you have updates to share with the BAC?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple quick updates. I don't see our finance staff online, and so I'll definitely, if I don't have any details or answers to questions that the commission is requesting, certainly can follow up and get those. Just a couple quick notes. We did receive at our last meeting on Monday, a work session prior to kind of a legislative session recap. There's a lot of good news regarding education funding that relates to things like major maintenance reimbursement, school bond debt reimbursement, increase to the BSA through the Alaska Reads Act, as well as one-time funds that were paid outside of the formula through the operating budget. We're still waiting for a lot of that legislation to make its way through the rest of the process in terms of being signed by the governor, as far as I know. And so there isn't much that's final right now. There was a bill signing for the Alaska Reads Act earlier this week, but even that wasn't the true bill. I think the governor was just signing books to kind of commemorate the occasion and celebrate. So the board, as I understand, is planning to receive a detailed briefing and hear from finance staff as to potential uses for kind of the funding that related to the outcome of the legislative session in August. And so we'll have more information to present at that point for certain. The commission, I think, would also appreciate knowing that the board did approve a audit plan for the upcoming year, which I think is the first time it's happened sometime, if it's not the first time ever, but it's something that I and the rest of the finance committee and the board pushed for. The recommended internal audits that the district will be working through include student nutrition warehouse inventory controls, fall 2022 travel, and then winter 2022-23 will be fixed asset inventory is the tentative plan that could get amended through the board, but that's the plan at this point. The board also discussed the interest in providing increased financial information to the public through our school newsletter, ASD Connect. And so for those who receive that newsletter, please do watch for increased financial information coming through that lens, just trying to make sure we provide as much transparency and information and access as we can. Then the last update that I had related to this commission, this will be my last month representing the board as the member. We're transitioning to our new alignment starting July, and so Finance Chair Kelly Lessons will be present for your next meeting. And it has been a pleasure serving with the commission. Certainly appreciate all you do. With that said, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Jacobs. We've appreciated having you at these meetings. Does anyone have questions for about the school district for Mr. Jacobs? One that I have, so the Alaska Reads Act is increasing the BSA. So does this represent, is that generally, is that a one-time increase, or does it include any kind of a multi-year plan to increase the BSA? Because that's something I've been worried about, is how the BSA amount has been losing ground to inflation and other stuff, and doesn't seem to get adjusted except, sporadically, not consistently.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Great question. So the BSA does provide a one-time, and I believe that is permanent, funding increase through the BSA of $30. That represents what we've been told is an estimated $2 million in funding that the district anticipates receiving. In short, that will not resolve our the budget shortfalls that we anticipate for future fiscal years. It is the first increase to the BSA that we've seen in some time, but the bills that were working their way through the House, including Representative Story's bill 272 and 273, stipulated both a larger increase up front and then continual increases to maintain and keep up with the cost of inflation. Those bills did not pass the House, did not make their way over to the Senate, did not become law. And so that's something that we'll certainly have to continue advocating for, as I think I share the same concerns that you do in terms of ensuring that there's some auto mechanism in place to keep the base student allocation something that can maintain our system of education in line with the language in our Constitution, and would also free up our elected lawmakers to engage in the number of issues that are very important to their work. And so unfortunately, that's what was passed. There was also one-time funds, which I believe we anticipate was what was projected to be about $16 million to ASD that was in our operating budget outside the formula, but those are indeed one-time.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else have questions for Mr. Jacob? All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for the updates and for the information. Let's see. So I want to hand things over to OMB to provide an update and report to us. So Marilyn, whatever information you have to share with us from an OMB point of view.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chair. I am Marilyn Bonsoff. I am the Deputy Director of the Office of Management and Budget. I've been with the city for quite some time in this position. A big part of my role is continuity and keeping our budget processes going. At this time, we do not have a director, so I am acting OMB director. Ms. Frasca did come out of retirement to be our director, the OMB director, to get us basically through our 2022 budget development and the revised process. So I do thank her greatly, but she did go back into retirement once it was completed. Just a shout out to her, she was fabulous. I had worked with her when she was OMB director in previous years too. So she is not our director at this time, and I am acting. As far as our processes, our 2022 budget was approved by the Assembly, and it is loaded in our system, and we have documentation for that, including the mill rates, the mill rate builds. Those are all online in the muni.org in the OMB website. So that is pretty much the end of the 2022 budget cycle and setting of the tax rates for 2022. There may be a couple other budget adjustments throughout the year as supplemental appropriations, but those are individual appropriations based on need throughout the year. For the actuals of 2022, I believe, will start reporting the budget to actuals after June close. So then that's why you're going to get the, progress of actuals against the budget throughout the year for each department. But that we don't anticipate providing until after June close. So that'll be sometime July-ish. And then we are now in our department starting our calendar for our 2023 budget process. Any questions?
Yeah. Any questions for Marilyn?
I'll just have a. This is Carla. I'll just throw a general one out there though. Marilyn, in developing the 2023 budget, what do you see is going to be any obstacles that the Muni is forecasting for 2023 for budgeting obstacles?
I don't foresee any at this time. We have just started looking at our calendar in OMB to identify the timing of what we do. And then once we do that, then we look at the actual components of it. The budget is due, the mayor's proposed budget is due to the Assembly, 90 days before the end of the year. So typically October 2nd. That's a Sunday this year, by the way. So expect to see it by then, and we work backward from there. At this time, I don't foresee any obstacles.
Thank you so much.
Sure. And if I may, I don't know if anybody has a question or wants to do a walkthrough of if you want OMB to do a walkthrough of our budget process, setting the calendar and what we do when, let me know. I can walk you through our budget documents and our calendar. And one other thing about the calendar and the budget that we set, and I'm sure you guys probably already know it, but I think it's a pretty interesting thing myself, is that, we're developing the proposed budget. We're proposing the 23 budget starting, it's presented to the public in October, and then it goes through a process of approval by the Assembly, and then it's posted January 1st and used, but then we go into our first quarter process where it actually refines it, and then we set the tax need and the mill rates. So it's, again, that's just the process. If you have any questions, I guess let me know.
Yeah, thank you for that. In the past, we have usually looked at I think there's a written document that lays out the timeline and for the budget review process, and that's something that we've had it. We've been walked through it periodically, but it's something that probably needs we need a refresher in sort of periodically as well. I certainly have forgotten it, and some members on the commission right now may not have actually seen it at this point. But yeah, I think that is helpful, helpful thing to be reminded of, especially as we approach the next cycle. A question I have, Marilyn, what is the current status then of filling the OMB director position?
I know it is vacant, and I do expect that it will be filled, but I do not know timing or anything in that regard.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I was just curious if you had any information. Let's see. Other stuff then. Anything else for Marilyn for OMB?
This is Carolyn. I have a quick question. Marilyn, with June closing out, does that mean we could anticipate seeing budget to actuals at the July meeting, or will it take some time for that to kind of work through its process, and we'll see the budget to actuals in August?
So the July meeting, what would that be, the 7th or the 14th? And I apologize for, it would be would it be the 14th? I'm sorry for asking.
I believe it would be the second Thursday. I don't have a calendar.
Okay, yeah, then that would be the 14th. We'll have to work internally, and that's actually a good question. I think that's a good question. One thing that happens with our actual, so the first, I think we should be able to provide a budget to actuals for general government at that time as probably a draft, if that is of interest to the commission, excuse me.
Thank you. I think it would be.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Oops. Anything else for Marilyn? All right. Well, thank you. So the next item is about our departmental assignments, and I don't know, since we don't have quorum, I don't know how far we can go with setting up with this conversation. I know that we've done this in years past, and it's been a popular feature of BAC to be assigned 1 or 2 departments per person usually, and then meet with the director and finance director for each of them. Do you have any kind of an update or information on that, Marilyn, on getting us moving on that?
I don't have, I apologize. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any information on that, but if there is something I can do to facilitate it, or that I can assist if that's what you're looking for. And I apologize, do we need to go through the departments, assign them, and then make communications with the actual folks within those departments, or is there something specific that I can do to assist, or am I way behind? I apologize.
Yeah, actually, Lila helped, really did a lot to facilitate it in the past. I think getting a spreadsheet and having people kind of vote on their top choices of departments. And Lila, can you comment on that? How we've done it what usually the mechanics of assigning us to departments usually is?
Sure. Just a few meetings ago, Anna had me send out a spreadsheet of the choices that we had in 2021, but we weren't able to complete the meetings. So this is what we have. However, Jonathan's gone now, and we have the 2 vacants. So I believe Anna wanted to revisit this just because we have some departments that are still available. So I think we might want to discuss this at the next meeting with Anna.
Yeah, I think that's probably ideal. That's right, and that's right, and I forgot that we had already gone through all the selection process and then weren't able to go forward with it for last year.
Yes, and then once we figure out who is doing which departments, I would be more than happy to set up those Teams meetings with the directors and the budget coordinators.
Sure, and we may have some and starting on July 1st, it's possible that we may have some new members, I think, depending on when those get filled. So yes, so I guess it is this is something that we're going to have to dig into a little bit more at our next meeting. So it'd be good for everybody to think about their departments and whether anybody's preferences have changed and so forth. Let's see, so there's probably not much more we can say about this right now. Then with that, I think that the agenda is the next piece of our agenda is public participation or audience participation. I don't think we have any audience members present. We can move along then. BAC open discussion. Does anybody on the commission have anything that they want to discuss or chat about before we prepare to adjourn? Informally adjourn.
This is Carla. You have, once again, I've missed several meetings, so you may have already discussed this, but when will the BAC consider in-person meetings again?
I don't recall where we landed on that. Actually, we talked about it we did talk about it at least in April. Where did we? Does anybody on the commission remember, or maybe Lila or Marilyn?
I enjoy the convenience of these online meetings because I'm really busy. On the other hand, I feel like we don't have the same dynamic and we don't have the same attention to or dedication, I guess. But anyway, Lila, go ahead. I'm sorry if I interrupted you or whomever I interrupted.
Oh, that's okay. This is Lila. A few meetings ago, we had asked what everyone thought, and I think that was during Delta. I think we're having a little bit more activity, so it's kind of pulled on hold again. But I can put it on the agenda for next month. See if we want to revisit that as well.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing to discuss. And I don't know what among the other commissions if they've gone to more in-person format meetings or what's become kind of the norm lately. But I agree. I think it would be good to be able to do that again. I agree with Carla. I appreciate the convenience of this, but yeah, the engagement is not there. Is not quite the same. Also, Carla, this is your last meeting. Is that correct?
It is.
Well,
and thank you for addressing that. So I'm the old lady in every which way on this BAC. I've been here since Mayor Sullivan. And I've enjoyed it a lot, but I just can't give it the attention that I need to. And I really think it's an important commission. So I'd love to see new blood, although it looks decimated right now. Unfortunately, I was like, maybe I'm leaving at the wrong time, but I hope somebody else will pick up the baton and run with it, and you guys will continue to keep doing great work.
Yeah, it's been great serving with you, Carla. I've appreciated you very much, and I will miss you on this commission.
Yeah, who's going to be negative Nelly when I'm gone? Dang it.
Somebody's got to play the devil's advocate sometimes.
That's right.
Definitely prevented us from slipping into groupthink many times. So that has been really valuable. I've really appreciated that. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
Well, anything else from BAC members for open discussion? I don't see anything else. I think we're scheduled for July 14th is our next meeting, and then August 11th, and then September 8th. I think one of the topics, I don't recall if this is something we wanted to talk about at our next meeting or another future meeting, but departmental performance measures as well was something that I think there was some interest in discussing. So that was one of the things that Anna mentioned as a topic for one of our future meetings when she and I were connecting before this. So I don't that may be another item to put on the agenda for either July or August. Those performance measures that OMB tracks for each department. And then I think that there's still an intention of doing a retreat like we've done in the past for some strategic planning purposes sometime in the fourth quarter. So I think that's always been valuable when we've done that in the past. You know, we haven't been able to do one since before the pandemic, but I think that always helped to kind of reinvigorate and re-energize the BAC, give us a bit of a stronger sense of shared purpose. So with that, I don't think we need to formally adjourn, but I think we have talked through our business for today, unless anyone has anything else that they want to add. So hearing none, I think we're set to sign off. Again, thanks Carla for your time here, and thanks Marilyn and Lila for helping keep things running.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Bye everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Signing off.